I always amazed, like all of a sudden there's a new word like disappears overnight. Everybody's talking about it. So the word of the week is, we need a segment, is harness. Everything now is a harness. And it kind of like,
I feel,
I grew up on a farm. You put a harness on a horse. You put a harness on a cow to lead it. Like, where
is that what that is? Because for me, okay, so in the farmland, a harness is not the thing you put on the horse's face.
Yeah. You put the harness on, right? And that's where you control the horse. So it's like, I guess you're controlling your LLM through this harness, or you're attaching it. Like,
hello, everyone, and welcome to the Power Platform Boost podcast, your timely source of Power Platform news and updates with your hosts, Nick Dolman and Ulrika Ackerbeck. Yeah. Hey, Nick.
Hey, how are you?
Your face is a little low. Wow. Sometimes I need to remember to push the recording button without you knowing, because then the wonderful listeners of this podcast will get the little gold nuggets that I get that no one else gets. That is you unrecorded before
this is how
online.
Politicians get in trouble with the hot mic, right? They call it, and they say something that they say what they're really thinking, and then there's still a reporter that has the mic on.
Mm-hmm. It's my mission until the 100th episode to get a hot mic recording of you, to make sure we hit the button before you know it. So back to work. Well, you kind of work, but not work the whole summer.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah. Well, you can do that when you're on your own. It's like, well, I'll do the work that I need to do. And then when I don't need to work, I don't work, kind of thing. It's a called a vacation. Do you feel like you had a vacation?
Of sorts. Yeah. I tell people, it's like when you work for yourself, the benefit is you get to pick which 80 hours of the week you're going to work, right? So
yeah,
you
have a lot of these. It's one of my favorite of your sayings. I know some of them are borrowed and some of them are original. The other one is 9 women can't have a baby in 1 month. And that's borrowed, I know, but it's a brilliant saying. I use it all the time.
Throw more resources at it. Like, that's not going to work.
Yeah. More people, more chaos. You should see the baby.
Yeah.
So do you feel like you've had a summer vacation?
It's I feel like, to me, it's always been framed around school, kids going back to school, coming out of school, that sort of, now it's officially summer kind of thing. And here in Canada, for the most part, the kids aren't back in school till either the end of August, early September. I know in other parts of the world, that's a little bit different. Some are early August. Are your kids back in school yet? Or
No, start Monday next week. So we have 1 more week off.
Okay. So mid-August basically, right? So, and then with my daughter going off to university this fall, of course, that's a whole different paradigm as well. So kind of still in a summer mode, but I do know like July in terms of emails and things and Teams meetings, it really tapers off. Definitely on the European side, like the Europeans know how to properly do vacation. Like you even look at the you've seen all those memes of the out of office replies basically going, I'm on vacation. Like email me again in September, where the North American one's like, yes, I'm on holidays, but here's my cell phone number and my pager number and all of these other things. You can get a hold of me just in case. But that's not a healthy way to do things either. Good to have a break, kind of reset your mind a little bit. I have, I did a bit of a road trip, a few little things. No big kind of massive trip in terms of going away somewhere exotic at this point, because I travel quite a bit anyway. So that's sort of the summer been so far.
It's funny when your summer vacation is staying local because you travel so much. And also we covered last time, we covered the whole truck rundown story, right? So I think you have had enough excitement on your trip, even though you stayed local in Canada. I mean, it's still a big country, so you can travel for hours and go on planes and still be in Canada. So, but cool. All right, so we're ready to dive in then, because I'm the caveat. I have my first day back at work since I've been on holiday this summer. So for those of you who aren't used to having kind of 4 solid weeks of holiday, you kind of get into a midlife crisis and then you go back to work and it kind of feels like you want to just crawl into a black hole with your wine glass, or maybe crawl back into the sunbed or the hammock. So my mind is kind of mush already, and it's like 2:00, 3:00 in the afternoon. So if I zone out, it's just because I'm in my hammock with my sunglasses and my wine. Just pull me back in and I'll be fine. But yeah. So
and a lot of new stuff happening. A lot of, again, the news cycle doesn't stop. The features don't stop. Of course, the naming convention, the new words. I always amazed. Like all of a sudden, there's a new word like disappears overnight. Everybody's talking about it. So the new word, the word of the week is, we need a segment, is harness. Everything now is a harness. And it's kind of like,
I feel,
I grew up on a farm. You put a harness on a horse. You put a harness on a cow to lead it. Like, where
is that what that is? Because for me, okay, so in the farmland, a harness is that the thing you put on the horse's face?
Yeah. You put the harness on, right? And that's where you control the horse. So it's like, I guess you're controlling your LLM through this harness, or you're attaching it. Like, and of course, in mechanics too, there's an engine harness where you kind of put, like, it's all about attaching or whatever. Like, I find the word doesn't quite explain what it is. And this is, I'm going to throw on my farmer redneck hat kind of thing. This is someone in the city that wanted to use a fancy word and decided, well, we're going to use harness. And it's like, I don't think you know what it really means, really. But anyways.
Oh, it's so cute.
We love you, marketing people, and all your craziness.
Actually, don't lie. We don't. No, but, and it's for me, it's like, well, I'm not a trained developer, right? So I don't have any kind of formal developer education training. So for me, for whatever I know, harness could be a very solid code developer, software engineer type of term that everyone knows what is. And I feel stupid. And then I kind of go, Claude, a friend of mine's wondering what harness means. And then, can you explain it to me like I'm 5? And it goes, sure, Ulrika, I get it, right? So, and also I think a lot of the makers in Power Platform and the people that grew up with Power Platform as a freaking local platform don't know, that it's not one of those development engineering terms. It just kind of arose. And 2, what the heck does it mean? And so
So I still sneak into the super secret developer meetings where we all gather and we all say, oh, we're going to start let's just use this word, and we're going to use it in conversations, and we're going to see how it's going to take off. So the word is harness. Let's just use this in some sort of weird context and make other people feel stupid.
You mean Discord, by the way, because that's where all the cool developers hang out.
Yeah.
I wasn't invited. Yeah. Okay. So let's backtrack a little bit. First of all, what we're actually talking about was that Microsoft released something for Copilot Studio. Was it last week or this week? Where what the marketing says is that there is a new harness for Copilot Studio. So you now have 3 named harnesses. It's the standard harness that you're used to. And that's what Copilot Studio has always been. It's more deterministic. It's if this, then that, more kind of flow and conditional based. And then you have Microsoft 365 Copilot Harness, which is kind of an extension of what you can create from Microsoft 365, which is a deterministic agent, which we've had for a long time, those two, but it hasn't been called a harness and it hasn't been talked about in this way. And now there's a third one, and it's based on the GitHub Copilot Harness. That's always been called a harness. It's the orchestrator that GitHub Copilot has been built on from day one. So what it means is, you remember we talked about the Wiggum loop in January or something, right? The agentic loop. That agents are now able to see their own results, and before they surface that to you, they kind of go, is it good enough? No, maybe not. And then we'll go another round. It's the orchestrator's ability to assess and go multiple rounds and do deeper research, and also how to choose different skills, different resources, different plugins, different MCP servers, whatever it is at their disposal. So that's essentially, from my understanding at least, of what a harness is. It's not the model. The model, the LLM, is different. That's the same. And a harness is a kind of a wrap around the model. You can choose different models within this harness. So just to stop here, pause here a little bit. Is this the same understanding of this as you have, or do you
No,
have
it's
another
exactly what
understanding of
you
this
said.
is?
It's almost like the model or the orchestrator is the horse, and the harness is the how you're interacting with it and controlling it kind of thing.
Interesting way of thinking about it. Yeah, and you can
Well,
swap the
you say
horse. You can keep
harness.
the
I'm
harness.
gonna think horse or animal.
Well,
So, but
I'm not even going to tell you what my mind does, but that's another thing. Okay, let's move on, because in that sentence, right? So this is what a harness is: the engine under an agent, the reasoning model and runtime behind it thinks, plans, and acts. This new one is built for hard stuff like long-running processes, large files, code execution, ambiguous decisions, runs on frontier models. In there's another word that I know is a deep developer engineering type of word, and it's runtime. And I've seen runtime used for a lot of different things in the last few months. And I go, so then I also went to my Cloud agent and I said, now tell me what runtime means for those who don't know. And then, because that wasn't even clear to me, I feel so stupid. And then also, just on a side note, whenever I come across something that I don't fully understand, I think I can't possibly be the only person on the planet that's worked with Power Platform for 15 freaking years and doesn't know what this is. So this is why we're talking about it, because I know that there are people out there that also wonder runtime in this context. And they feel stupid like me, but don't feel stupid, because no one can know everything. So runtime, and I would you like to explain what it is? Because you seem eager.
No. I was funny because when you said frontier, I'm going, here we go, another horse cowboy reference. Because frontiers, the Cowboys went and explored the frontier, ahead of everybody else. So this is like frontier firms. So it's all on cowboy themes. This whole new world of agents and whatever is all just one big Western movie coming together.
My. You just open up a whole new dimension in my brain. All right. So this is brilliant. So in this context, the runtime is the difference between a runtime and not runtime is, so you have your horse, you put the harness on, you put the saddle on. That's stationary. That's not runtime. The runtime is when you get on the horse and you go riding, because runtime is the difference between kind of you setting up, creating, configuring, coding, putting in instructions, hooking up the skills. That's not runtime. Runtime is when someone interacts with it live. So the orchestration runtime sense in Copilot Harness context is it's when it's running, when you're using it. It's live.
Yeah. The horse is running or the train is running, Yep. Here we go.
Don't mix trains into this. Doesn't work.
Okay. Sorry. We'll leave the trains out of it for now.
Thank you.
Only so many cowboy references.
Exactly that. Right. And so, and then I was like, I heard some chatter somewhere that all this is all good and well. And there's so many. I mean, my LinkedIn is absolutely flooded with introducing a new harness for Copilot Studio, And we're going to have links to the most important announcements and videos. And I know I know what you're going to say, and to hold that thought for a split second, because it's up next. But there is also news around licensing in Copilot Studio.
Yeah.
And both of us are going to like deep breath until the other person speaks. So I guess that means I'll take it. So one of the interesting things is that if you use the standard Copilot and the Copilot chat, which is Microsoft 365 Copilot, then you can use it. And if it's authenticator, if you're using the end user's authentication, then the credentials and the usage is pulled from the Microsoft 365 Copilot seat license. So that's included. But if you use the new GitHub Copilot Harness, you don't get that free ride. There's not even on the build and authoring side of this will you be able to do that for free. So now even building costs you. Auditing, authoring, testing, as quickly as the LLM is involved, it costs you. It, of course, in addition to runtime execution, right? So that will cost you Copilot credits. And it's regardless of what kind of Microsoft 365 Copilot licensing you have in addition. And on top of this, and this is a very important just kind of carve out, Work IQ API usage by Copilot Studio agents is explicitly excluded from the Microsoft 365 Copilot user license, even for the harnesses that are otherwise covered, meaning the Copilot chat and the Microsoft 365 Copilot, which means that actually building agents now will cost you. So then the question becomes, we used to be able to get developer licenses for this or developer environments where we could play around and it didn't cost us anything. Maybe this is the reason for the change, because I think a lot of people have been using and executing agents wildly without it costing anything, because if you didn't publish it, then it didn't cost you.
It's the same concept as if you're doing like pro code solutions and using VS Code to create, like we talked about, the new skills and things like that. We're still using, whether we're using Claude or GitHub Copilot, we're still consuming those tokens and credits and everything as we're developing those pro code solutions, because it's still activating the LLM. It's still burning things on that side. So I think this is the concept that as makers, like even if I were to create a new model driven app, but instead I'm going to use GitHub Copilot within VS Code to do that, or the GitHub desktop app, I'm still going to be burning through those those credits kind of thing. So this is now we're using the Copilot Studio. It's sort of the same idea that you have to, someone has to pay for this engine to be running. The thing is, you're right. It is a new concept for makers because we've been used to but we have to look at it from a different lens. We're looking at it in terms of access. Yes, I can build a new app, a Power App on Dataverse. It doesn't cost anything. I still need, but then once I deploy it, my users need a subscription to use it. And then that's fine because they're going to use, and I mean, even developing, yes, we use compute power and whatever else, but that's sort of that's sort of a hidden cost behind everything. And assumingly that gets recouped when you actually deploy it and gets licensed. Now, because these things are more expensive to run, and we did talk about it last week about how, with Steve saying, hoping the price rises so people use these things a little bit better. It's all about resources, right? Running these things are expensive. These companies are losing money right now, essentially built on these LLMs. So in terms of stock price and board members and stuff, you got to look at the bottom line. How much is this costing us? So all of a sudden, if now we have all these makers that are just going to, I'm just going to build a bunch of agents, I'm going to play around and whatever, it's actually showing up on the needle in terms of costs, in terms of compute power and whatever else. So this is why now you have to go and draw from your credits and your tokens to build these things out. Is this always going to be the case? Probably. This is the new world we're living in. It's, it's definitely going to be a paradigm shift. I know there is a lot of grumbling about it, that yes, to develop, it's going to cost you money. The other thing that comes into this is running a workshop. So like the workshop we ran at EPPC a few weeks ago, we kind of were lucky because we were ahead of that wave. If we were to run this now, we would be blocked because we actually would need to have credits. We'd have to buy them outright or incorporate that in the cost of the workshop in order to run it. So this is again going to be a big paradigm shift in terms of training and things like that. So overall, yeah, it is a new way of thinking. It'll be interesting to see how things sort of filter out. But yeah, this is, just be aware, if you're going to creating agents on Copilot Studio, you will need to make sure you have a pile of, capacity available for you to do that.
Yeah,
and that's a new thing.
100%. But of course, there were still trials to get. So you can poke around and you can try and test and within a trial period. So because, of course, you have to have that ability to see what it is you're getting before you buy it. But of course, after that, then you need to know what you're doing and to understand. And also, this comes down to something we've talked about in the past as well, to be cost efficient when we use coding agents and agents in general, and to always ask when we're building skills, for instance, to make sure that we check that those are not just kind of running through a lot on tokens. I created, as a bit of a side note, I do a lot of research these days, and I'm venturing into a whole kind of new area of stuff that I'm researching. I think about going back to school. There's a lot of things that I'm doing, and I found myself kind of writing the same prompt every time I started a new research project. So then I worked with ChatGPT. And the new model there is amazing, by the way. So if you haven't tried ChatGPT's new models in a while, then please do check it out. And I asked it to can you help me create a base prompt that I can use for all my research projects? And it's like, no, this is more of a research kind of, I call this something else, kind of a platform for research type of thing. And it helped me create this massive, massive framework to help me do research in a way that I prefer it. And then I checked it and I said, can you run this against known patterns of token usage and make sure you streamline this to use as few tokens as possible. And then I had it run 3 times. I ran it to be more and more critical. And my Lord, when I asked it to calculate how much I'd saved by doing that, those 3 rounds, it's like, 93% token savings. I'm like, holy cow. Imagine I hadn't done that and run a research project on that framework. Jesus. So, I mean, and this comes back to something we've talked about before as well. So if you're a developer and you're trained to think about these things, then you'll have the reflex to go, I wonder, check this, make sure, But if you don't, and you don't think, then these models are just going to eat and consume all of your tokens in one go.
Yeah. So. And I think and if you probably have done this as well, and I've noticed this as well, you get your coding agent working on something. And it's sometimes like a kid on red Kool-Aid. It's like, ooh, this didn't work. So I'm going to try this now. Let me check this again. Let me do this again. Like, okay, hold on. You're all over the place here. I mean, there's ways with the context and things like that, cleaning out your context and restarting. But I think you kind of hit on something there. That's something, as anybody using these agentic agents to build applications, to build that in your instructions or whatever in terms of token optimization. And this might be the new hot skill of 2026 is I am a token optimizer, because we talk about, people who are good at security, people that are, prompt engineering was the big thing, 6 months ago. Well, now so everybody add this to your LinkedIn profile, token optimizer or something, or token optimization. CEO, what skills do you have? Oh, I'm good at optimizing tokens. Yeah.
Yeah. CEO. Yeah. No, I get it. And I absolutely agree. So this is ever evolving. And I think, just as you said, I do say that as well. It's running off, and if it's not regulated, then it will just eat out all of the tokens. So, and if you have tokens to spare, what would you recommend people doing with said tokens?
Well, of course, now with all of these new harnesses and Cowboys and agents and frontiers and everything like that, of course, people are, okay, how do I get ramped up on this? Now, before, and we went through and we kind of ran an agent academy by the seat of our pants at that time, the new interface, that was before harness was a word. So essentially was. But we saw from the advocates team that they have refreshed the Agent Academy. So it's all been refreshed to use the new harness. So you can go through those exercises and get your Agent Academy badge. Of course, and if you've already done it, you can even get a new refresh badge as well. So there's that resource, and there's a ton of other resources as well. Last week, the CAT team, the Copilot. What does CAT stand for again? I keep forgetting. It used to be
Copilot Accelerator Team.
The Copilot. There you go. They did an amazing webinar. I was a little bit late getting onto it, but I did watch a big chunk of it. It is now recorded, so you can view it as well. And even the deck is available as well. So that also is a great resource to get ramped up on this. I know a lot of our friends have done videos on this. Of course, like Reza had done one a while ago. Lisa Crosby has done a very high level one. We even saw on LinkedIn, we were talking about this before, Ryan Cunningham, whatever, big chief of AI, let's call him now, whatever. Keep all these titles. I just can't keep up.
Big chief of AI, just staying on topic for the Cowboys. Yeah.
Going back, Ryan, he did a couple of videos on LinkedIn giving a very high level overview of the new Copilot, of the harness, of course. Take a drink when you hear the word harness now, especially listening to this podcast. And he talks through it as well. So there's a lot of resources out there. And of course, get in and try it. But of course, trying it, just be aware that you could be dipping into your precious cache of tokens and credits to build some stuff out. But I have a whole bunch of ideas that I want to try out, and I'm going through the new Agent Academy. I started yesterday just a little bit to get going on that, just to see what's been changed and everything. So lots of great resources.
So I need to just pause a little bit on the CAT team, the webinars. So we'll have a link in the show notes where you can go in and you can see all the past sessions that they've done. And not only do they have sessions on Agent 365, getting started in fundamentals with Copilot Studio, they have governance, security, risk management, technical deep dives, which is one of those that you saw, Azure and advanced integration, data and knowledge management, strategy, jobs, and it just goes on and on and on and on. Not only can you see the recordings, you can also access the PowerPoint presentations. How many of us we have sessions, we do tech meetups, we do internal tech days in our companies, and you want to grab some of these, just having those presentations available is like gold. So if you haven't looked through, this is like, I can't imagine anyone needing anything else but this webinar kind of list. It's just, by the time you get to the bottom, you'll just be fully certified to do anything AI and Microsoft, it seems. So it is just absolutely a golden resource. Yes. And I haven't gone through a single one, but I should. But I'm also going to go through
So this, I was about to say, this goes through to, I'm just going to jump a little bit ahead just because we like segues, right? Do you subscribe to any newsletters at all? I know, of course, we subscribe to the Power Platform Weekly and the Power Platform Dev Weekly, but do you subscribe to any other ones?
Yeah. So I have a Cloud newsletter subscription, and I have, the Copilot one, and of course the Code app and Generative Pages one. But I think also you're talking about the new one. Is it new?
Well, no. What I was segueing was the fact that I also have in my inbox every day, there's like about 5 or 6 newsletters I subscribe to. And
this is the one you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then basically I'm like, okay, and I have it, like I have an Outlook rule because I look at it in the morning like, ooh, this looks like a really cool newsletter. They're talking about this and this. Yeah. I am going to move it to my newsletter folder and I'm going to read it late. I'm going to read it later. If I look at my newsletter folder right now, I have 349 unread newsletters here that just get moved over, and I like, that looks good, and I completely forget about it. And yes, I'll get to it. And every so often I go into the newsletter folder, I'm like, okay, I'm going through, okay, this is good. Oh, this is really good. This is really interesting. But of course, who has the time? I haven't done this yet. But I really appreciate this. Well, actually, what I have done with Microsoft, with Microsoft Cowork, I do at least now, it goes through the last 24 hours and gives me a high level summary of what the newsletters were about. Like, just give me a one-liner, which is, I found, okay, great. I have a daily digest of what the newsletters are about, but it's worse now because now I'm like, ooh, they talk about this. I can't wait to read this newsletter. Ooh, so I did see this article, and this is something I need to sit down and do, but it says, turn your daily digest into a podcast you'll actually listen to by Remy Dion.
You're going to put us out of business. Stop.
No. It just, because people can listen to this like every 2 weeks. I think they can squeeze in us if they're doing this as well.
Yeah. And you won't get that to rant as well as we do. And it won't go off on tangents, and it won't tell you the truths that we do. So
yeah,
that's
exactly
what you're here for. We know. And also the weather talk. I know that's what you come here for. So good.
Yeah. So anyways, this is an article basically going through, it's a Copilot Studio skill, turns any document, email, press review into a 2-hour podcast episode with multi-voice, SML, text to speech, blah, blah, blah. So
2
there's
hours?
a lot of, well, it depends on what. Yeah. It depends on, I think maybe up to 2, or sorry, into a 2-host podcast. I missed that.
Okay. Because I was like, well, if you have 2 hours to listen to a
No.
podcast about your daily digest every day, then you probably should have time to read through the news. But I get it. So keep it
Yeah.
under what you can deal with. Your commute,
Yeah.
for instance, you have a 30-minute
So a
commute,
lot of
ask it to create something that is 30 minutes long.
Yeah. And I know there's people that we do know in our community that actually they say, oh, we listen to the Boost podcast on their commute, they're driving to work, or they're on the bus in the ear. So if we're in the ears or you're on the subway now or something, awesome. We love you here. But this is another. So when you're done this is something you could maybe put together yourself. This is something I'm interested in because I try to, like, I go to the gym. There's a few other places where, I can't read or can't do whatever, but I have access to my ears. So basically just a process to set up going through as a newsletter gets into the inbox, it will actually get converted into an MP3 file that you could actually listen to with two people discussing all the points and the information. So this really kind of got me excited so I can maybe get through that backlog. Well, I don't know if I'll ever get the backlog of newsletters, but keep on top of it in another method by just going through that. So I thought it was a brilliant use of using skills in Copilot Studio, plus other aspects of technology like Azure Speech, a few other things. So looks like there are a few steps to set it all up, but it does look like an interesting project where you'll definitely get something out of it. So just wanted to throw that on folks' radar if they're like me that has like a bazillion newsletters they want to catch up on. So.
And also, Azure Speak's really cool. Just to have a reason to play around with it. I mean, it's awesome. And this actually, it's kind of old because we talked about, the Google Notebook and the podcast that creates 1.5 years ago, I want to say. So kind of being able to do this is just a use case, right? But then if you want to do it, make sure you add the new Microsoft Power Platform a monthly feature update to your newsletter. Because now, and I can't believe that this is new, and I'm thinking, is it new? But actually, so they just released a new update, the July-August 2026 Power Platform update, which talks mostly about modern grid controls and search, sorting, selection, rich column types for Canvas apps, a new security agent for Power Pages, and then which is in preview, and then also new flow groups. Whoop, whoop. You can share licenses across flows if you include the flows in a flow group. Which is kind of the 3 highlights of this month's feature update for Power Platform, which is awesome. And you'll get links to it in the show notes so that you can keep on top of these news items as well.
Yeah.
And and then I just want to throw something in there because last time we talked about Joe putting Doom inside a model-driven app. And then because I had Googled and spent time on the internet reading about Joe's new project, I got surfaced another person that did something with Doom, and it's actually enables you to play Doom in Paint. Doom can't, I know. So Doom can't actually do any execution. So it's not executed and it's not calculated. It's the engine that runs Doom isn't in Paint because that can't do it. But it actually copies and pastes the visuals as Paint. So you can, it is running the visual graphics. It's Paint. Paint. So of course the frequency of the frame rate isn't very good. But it is actually playable. And there's a blog post. Actually, the most fun thing about it is Mark Rosinowicz, the Chief Technology Officer of Microsoft Azure, that did this, which blows my mind as well. And they have you can download the Doom 1.wad, and there's a description of how you can do this so that you can actually play Doom in Paint. Stay tuned next week for another in the new segment. Where can you play Doom?
Where can you play Doom?
My bet will be on Tamagotchi. That's my next month's bet in next week's episode. I hope someone made it possible for you to play Doom on a Tamagotchi. And for those of you who don't know, don't know what a Tamagotchi is, Google it. You're too young to listen to this podcast, and Google it.
So something we didn't have, you did touch on a little bit about, we talked about newsletters and the Power Pages security features that are coming through. I didn't throw this on here. I do want to address it because there are a lot of questions. Yuka has done the Yuka thing of the week, but Exfil Squad hackers, have you heard about this? I think we did talk about it.
We did not
I think,
talk about talking about it.
sorry? No, we didn't
We did
talk
not
about
talk about
but I
talking
think
about it.
it's
If you want to talk about it, then yeah, it's late in the episode. It's after 37 minutes in the episode. So I think if you want to talk about it now, it's okay, because the people that know us will still be here, and those who don't, they will be long gone. So that's fine.
Well, I don't want to dwell too deeply onto it. So for those of you who haven't heard, of course, every time there's a breach that involves Power Pages, immediately the media gets on Power Page. There's the whole concept Power Pages not being secure. And of course, we work on this every day. It is as a very secure platform. There's white papers on the security. It's got the security agents. We have table permissions. We have a whole security harness of around Power Pages.
That's the guardrails. It's the paddock.
The corral. Yeah.
It's It's the fence.
Yeah. And basically they were saying this group, the Exfil squad hackers, in a couple different instances where they kind of went in, and I think what happened was these hackers figured out someone took a Power Pages course, maybe someone I instructed. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just speculating here. But then they went in and they were able to expose a lot of data. Now, here's the thing. Worked in Power Pages product. We both have. We see this from the community and things like that. People will misconfigure, or they're not quite sure, or I think probably the more thing is, while you're developing, something's not quite working. We can't get the data to display on the screen. What is the first thing people do is they'll just create a security, a web role for like anonymous users that have global access to a particular table. That's one thing. And then that artifact, if it's there, oh good, we got it going, great, we can move on to the next task. Well, if this is left open, that's going to expose you. There's also, when the web APIs leaving everything a star. I know every time I do demos now, I make sure that I'm actually using fields. I know I did stars, and I said, this is just a demo, it's fine. And like Nikita Polyakov would just lose his crap. It's like, no, we need to make sure that it shows just the fields. So of course, if the web API is exposed, and sometimes you do need it exposed to anonymous users for specific things, but also if they have access to all the fields, think of like the contact table, well, then you can actually, in the back end, if you know what you're doing, able to run a command directly in the URL and expose all of this data. So basically, Power Pages comes out of the box completely locked down. It's in terms of the configuration, these developers begin to open doors as they develop it, but there's missing sometimes that security piece. Now, there are security agents that run. There are new tools that are out there. You can load your portal to make sure it's accessible. My clients have been asking me, going, hey, we've seen this article. Are our portals secure? Yes, they're secure. We're going, double checking, generating reports of all the web roles and the web API settings and things like that. Again, just to double check to make sure, and to make sure everything has been properly locked down. So if you're using Power Pages, definitely use the tools out of the box. Also check all your web roles, your web API permissions, things like this. And again, let's just say Power Pages is secure, but if you leave the doors open, and it doesn't even need to be Power Pages, any system that you're creating that is being exposed to the outside world, this is something, security is an important aspect of this. So anyways, that's just my little rant, preaching, warning, whatever else. I did want to address it. And again, want to reiterate, Power Pages is a secure platform. It has all the locks, the doors, the walls, the gates. But if you happen to leave the gate open, and I grew up on a farm, I know this firsthand, the cows are going to get out. So basically, make sure your gates are locked.
Yeah. And it's like, if the fox gets into the hen pen, it's not the fox's fault. It's your fault for not making the hen pen secure. So it is on us as developers to make sure that when we do the tests we do, or when we do the development, that we actually do make sure that the fox can't get in. And we need to monitor and check the fence every now and again. So, and then
Absolutely.
End of metaphor. Okay.
Yep. Sorry. Back to what we were talking about.
Yeah. No, we're at the bottom. We're at the end of the list, I think.
Oh, yeah.
You posted a post on LinkedIn this week as well about the traveling circus and your engagements up until, I think, Christmas. So I know we don't have a lot of time left, but do you want to just quickly go through the things you're doing?
Yeah, I basically, it's more from a highlight. Like, these are the ones that I'm traveling to, but I also want to make sure that people are aware that these are community events. They're put on by the community. The ones I'm listing here are not necessarily professionals putting on an event. Those exist as well, and those are amazing and excellent. But these are community ones, so definitely you'll learn a lot of great information. Some are, I think, very small fee. Some are free. But again, the folks put in a lot of hard work, and I want to kind of shine the light on them. But just very quickly going through it, Hellish Summit in Helsinki, Finland, sort of a one-day event there around Microsoft 365, Power Platform. Of course, I'm sure Copilot, and I'm sure the word harness will be used as well all through all of these. And then, of course, going to Legoland for Nordic Summit in Denmark. So I'm really excited about that. Some sessions there. Again, great event. This is the fifth year in a row. I know I have other friends coming from kind of all over, some from Canada as well, coming to Nordic Summit. I think more for Legoland, to be honest, but probably checking out Nordic Summit as well. And then followed into the Baltic Summit. And I went last year, and this group puts on a really great event, a really great community in Poland as well. So definitely check them out. And then from there, about a week later, into Scottish Summit. And then I'll be going to the Irish Power Platform Summit. And I just saw you snuck in there something called MVP Dagen. Do you want to chat about that?
No, it's just one of the stops on my agenda as the MEP. MEP is coming together and making the MEP Day in Oslo. So if you want to hang out with us Norwegian MEPs, then head on out.
They're a cool bunch.
On October 6th. Yeah. And then October
Awesome.
8th, you'll probably be here around there, right? Because it's between Scottish Summit and Irish Summit.
Yeah, potentially. I haven't figured out my gaps yet. There's a few options floating around. So yeah, I'm pretty sure Norway will be a stop in between somewhere.
You promised me it would be, so I'm counting on it.
Cool.
Yeah. And the kids would be very upset if you didn't. So yeah. But that's another thing. And then we're both going to Vegas in the last week of October. And then it's back in Europe for Amsterdam and ESPC.
Yes, I won't be in
30th.
Amsterdam. Yeah, that looks like a lot of fun though, but I'm going to be missing that one. But I'm a lot of,
you can't do all of them. And I think this list is kind of extensive. So I think it's a good thing that you don't do all of them. So good on you. And then I'll see you in Amsterdam because I know you and you'll be there. But that's
probably. Cool.
Next episode is going to be August 26th. And I hope you have an amazing time until then. And we'll catch you then.
But hold on. I wanted to congratulate you on once again being renewed as an MVP. You said we weren't going to talk about this, but
I did the rant to you already. It's fine. It's just, Thank you. And right back at you. Well done.
Right. And it's funny because when I was traveling, I did do a quick video because I think you and we both get asked a lot, kind of like, well, how do I become an MVP? How to get into it? I did a bit of a blog post and a video talking kind of my experiences. But if you're interested, definitely check that out because I think, I'm not saying that's the exact blueprint, but I think that should shine a little bit of light on what it's all about and what it means. And it's like, if it's something for you or not. If you've always been curious, there you go.
Yeah, absolutely. Reach out to any one of us if you like to. And then, of course, it takes a village. So it's not a solo act to be an MVP. It is definitely a team effort. And so, definitely reach out if you are talking. And then, of course, just like you, I get messages all the time from people just curious and wanting support and mentorship and things like that. And we do that. So reach out if you need any help.
Yep.
Yep.
Cool.
All right. So then, if there's nothing else,
I'm done.
Let people get off of their and get on with their day. And I'll catch you next time.
All right. See ya.
See ya. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening. If you like this episode, please make sure you share it with your friends and colleagues in the community. And be sure to leave a rating or a review on your favorite streaming service. That makes it easier for others to find us. Follow us on social platforms and make sure you don't miss a single episode. Thank you for listening to the Power Platform Boost podcast with your host, Ulrika Ackerbeck and Nick Dolman. See you next time for your timely boost of Power Platform news and updates.